All right. Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast for the vikingage.com. And for those watching on our YouTube channel, welcome to the still pretty new YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to this page and like this video. I am Adam Patrick. I'm the editor and lead writer for the Viking Age, and I am joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Chris Schad, who also writes for us here at the Viking Age. And real quick, before we get started, make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Viking Age and on Facebook. The site's username on Twitter, of course, I already mentioned, is at the Viking Age. And you can follow the site's Facebook page by heading to facebook.com/the Viking Age. All right, Chris, we're going to get right into it today. Big news yesterday was Patrick Peterson re-signing with the Vikings during a live stream on his podcast on Wednesday. Patrick Peterson announced that he is returning to the Vikings for the 2022 season. Reports later revealed that the deal is only for 1 year and it's worth up to $5 million with incentives. Chris, just what was your reaction to what felt like something that was pretty inevitable, the re-signing of Patrick Peterson?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that they were bringing him back. I always thought Peterson wanted to come back all along. It's a solid move. I mean, if you're bringing everybody else back, why wouldn't you bring back Patrick Peterson? It's a cheap deal. He wasn't the Hall of Fame level corner that he was during his time in Arizona, not the tail years, but throughout most of his career. And then you also have him not being a complete train wreck, which I think a lot of the Vikings cornerbacks on the roster are right now. So that cap number is good. It's $3.1 million. Yeah, there's a void year for $750,000 next year, which we'll get into that, I'm sure. But he's a good locker room guy. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of the younger corners look up to him. I think that Patrick Peterson was talking about how the players are really kind of bonded together, especially after this whole Mike Zimmer thing. And I think that if he winds up forging a connection with Cameron Dantzler, Chris Boyd, that whole cornerback room, they can tap into that, even if they draft a guy. I think it's a good move. And I also loved how Chris Boyd tipped off the announcement on his Instagram because
What?
he took a picture of them working out together.
Mhm.
Which, if you
Mm.
put two and two together, you're probably like, why would Patrick Peterson be working out with Chris Boyd if, they weren't teammates anymore? So Chris Boyd is basically the Austin Theory of this team, snapping selfies and posting it on Instagram like, got a 15-yard penalty, LOL, look at me. Um, yeah, so I don't know. That just kind of struck me as a little bit humorous, and I wanted to get it out there.
I think he was also working out with Robert Alford, who's a free agent corner still as well, and a former teammate of Patrick Peterson's with the Cardinals. So maybe keep an eye out on that as a possibility for the Vikings. I like the move too. I think what you can say about Patrick Peterson with this return is that his feelings about the Vikings are genuine. Not to say that they weren't last year, but last year he was on a 1 year deal, and I think a lot of people were like, "All right, he's going to come here for 1 year, get back on track, then leave for a bunch of money in 2022." And that didn't happen. He wanted to return to the Vikings. He said he got some interest from other teams. I think the Colts, the Bears, and maybe some other team, maybe the Chiefs. I don't know. But yeah, I think he he clearly wants to be there because he's coming back to the Vikings, even with a different coaching staff, and it sounds like he's excited about this coaching staff. And he was not terrible last year by any stretch. I think his allowed completion percentage was around like 55, and then his passer rating allowed was under 80. So he was still pretty good. He was solid for the Vikings. I don't remember him getting like burned by anyone for a touchdown. Can't say the same for Cam Dantzler, but that actually was in the preseason, so I don't want to put that on him. But actually, you can't say the same for Bashad Breeland, is what I really meant to say, because I just felt like every week he was getting burned for a touchdown. But yeah, this is a good signing. I think it also indicates that the Vikings, might be interested or might be leaning towards drafting Derek Stingley from LSU since his defensive backs coach from LSU is now the defensive backs coach for the Vikings, and Patrick Peterson went to LSU, and I'm sure he has met with Stingley before and interacted with him. So that would be something that would seem like a fit, but we don't know what the Vikings' intentions are. But with Peterson now returning, how good do you think this Vikings can be with him on board? Zadarius Smith on board, Harrison Phillips, Jordan Hicks, Daniil Hunter returning. How good can this Vikings defense be in 2022?
They would probably tell you it could be top 10 quality. I'm not so convinced. This feels a lot like last year, except
Hmm.
you got a couple more impact players in there. I mean, Zadarius Smith is more of an impact player than probably anybody they signed last year. Harrison Phillips, big nose tackle. I mean, he'll be good in the 3-4 defense. Like I wrote about this at Zone Coverage today. There's a lot of players on the Vikings defense that you could point at and say, okay, we should be good here because you still have Harrison Smith, you still have Eric Kendricks, you still have Daniil Hunter. Trying to think of other ones right now. I'm blanking out right now, but I mean, there's a lot of players that were on that core that were very good defense. Now they're all on the wrong side of 30, which is a bit of
Yeah.
a bad thing. I mean, Daniil Hunter is 27, but he's got enough football years to be on the wrong side of 30.
Hmm.
Um, it just feels a lot like last year. It feels a lot like they're kind of putting together some pieces, finding some value free agents, and scrapping things together. So I think their job just needs to be don't be a train wreck. And I think Patrick Peterson's a good guy to do that. Peterson could also recruit another guy.
Yeah.
um, I've heard Tyrann Mathieu is not a likely
Yeah.
possibility, but I assume Patrick Peterson has his phone number and could
Yeah.
say, "Hey, come play with me and JJ up here in Minnesota."
Yeah.
It's
Why not?
worth a call. It probably won't happen, but um, yeah, I think this is middle of the road defense. If it winds up cracking the top 10, it'll be barely. I think 10 is probably its ceiling right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask Paul Allen, he already thinks that the Vikings got Tyrann Mathieu, according to
Hitman and Honey, baby.
oh man, he got had pretty good there. Yeah, I just I don't know with this defense because it's a new defensive coordinator. Um, you know, at Donatel, we just don't know. He's had good defenses in the past. We just don't know like his style and if it fits the players that he has this year. I know he's brought in some of what would seem like his guys was Zadarius Smith and who's the corner and Shannon Sullivan or Smith or whatever.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, it's just I'm like, are we sure that Ed Donatel is a better defensive mind than Mike Zimmer, or was Mike Zimmer just at the point where he was so fed up with pretty much everybody on the Vikings that his defense, it was lacking because of how much, stress was being caused by other areas of the team, whether it was the offense or the coaching staff or kicking or whatever, like, because Zimmer's a good defensive mind. Like if you look at,
Mhm.
I think it's Football Outsiders, uh, their DVOA for defense last year was like 14th. So they weren't a terrible defense. Like stats wise, sure they were not the greatest, but as far as like performance and efficiency and stuff, they were an average defense last year. And maybe they get a few more pieces in the draft. Maybe Kwesi wants to trade up this year, which is something that I don't even think Vikings fans even know exists because of, Rick Spielman's, uh, habit of drafting back to accumulate seventh round picks. So we'll see what happens. I think they have it's a good start, but yeah, like you said, there's a bunch of guys that are like near the end of their career, if not, very close. So we will see. I think Peterson said he wants to play like 3 more years, and I don't think he's that
Mhm.
old. I think he's like 32,
He's 32.
30.
I think he'll
Yeah.
turn 32 before the season.
I
So,
hear I hear that, and I think of Terrence Newman, and I'm like, Terrence Newman played till he was like 40. So
yeah. He was like
But,
43, wasn't he?
but some
Yeah.
people, yeah, some people are different. They want to save their bodies and stuff. They don't want to be Tom Brady and play till they're 44 and force Bruce Arians out of a job. So, you know,
Do you think Brady knew that Arians was going to quit when he came back? Because I
I
think
think it
so.
was part of the agreement for him to come back.
Yeah.
I think it's very obvious.
Yes.
Because especially because there was reports of those 2 not getting along or having some problems within the last couple years. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, Bruce Arians is retiring." I think Arians and Brady agreed that they should both probably stick around so they can get some free agents. And then once they get those guys on board, then they can be like, "Oh, whoops, Bruce Arians is retiring. Surprise." Yeah, Brady knew. He
Forgot
knew.
to tell you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reports or whatever say that like Arians informed Brady that he was retiring right after um, Brady made his decision. But I mean, come on, we know when it's Brady. Come on, if the Bucks are left to pick between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, I think their choice is going to be pretty easy. But back to the Vikings, I mentioned the draft. Is cornerback still the top need on the board for the Vikings in the NFL draft this year?
I would say so. I mean, if you're looking at the depth chart, I mean, you got a 32-year-old cornerback one in Patrick Peterson. Your cornerback two is Cameron Dantzler, who looked pretty good once he got over his doghouse issues. But can he find consistency? Can he stay healthy? He's still pretty skinny for a corner in the NFL. Although, if you look at Devonta Smith, he was kind of on stilts last year and he wound up being pretty damn good. So can Cameron Dantzler put it all together in year 3? But behind him, you got Chris Boyd, who I do not trust outside of running a social media account. You got Harrison Hand, who was repeatedly on the COVID list last year. And you have Chandon Sullivan, who is just going to be a nickel guy. And
Yep.
he's not very good at stopping the run, but he'll be out there in passing situations. So
Who's the other guy they signed? They signed somebody else too.
Nate
Who's
Hairston,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
yeah, who's kind of projects as more of a special teamer. Maybe one of those in case of
The new Chris
emergency type
Boyd.
people. The new Chris Boyd, yes. It's Step Brothers. He'll get to the practice facility and Chris Boyd will be like, "You have to call me Dragon," and then I'll take a selfie. And yeah. So not that I'm
Okay.
bitter about his Instagram usage. Some people
No.
got stuff to share on the gram, some people don't.
You know, I don't care about players using Instagram or whatever, but I always get bothered whenever I go and see like a player's story or whatever of them recording a video with like lip syncing lyrics and they're driving and I'm like, "What are you doing?" like
Like
you got
I
like millions
only
of
got
dollars on the line and you're recording yourself while you're driving. That's probably
I
not a good idea.
I am only upset because of that one post that Boyd had
Oh, after
after
you
the
got that
Pittsburgh
penalty?
game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and I can't remember what he said, but I'm just like looking at him like you got flagged 15 yards for that dude, and like it sprung a Pittsburgh comeback. Like that was a game-changing play. So like I don't know, like read the room, man. And like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's this other video. He was like sitting there like singing in the locker room, and like Garrett Bradbury was sitting there and he's like, "What is going on? I do not know what this music is. Can you play some Nickelback or Three Doors Down, please?" Akeem Hicks. Anyway. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he's fine. I'd rather the Vikings move on from Chris Boyd. I just don't think he's that good anyway, so, uh, he can go
Yeah, on the field,
somewhere
he's
else.
not. Yeah. If he was good on the field, I'd love it probably. But
He's a 7th round pick for a reason.
eh,
Alright. So, the other thing that happened on Wednesday was we found out the details about Adam Thielen's restructured deal. So to help with signing Patrick Peterson and some other free agents, we knew that the Vikings had restructured the contract from of Adam Thielen, and on Wednesday we found out the details of this restructure, and they're a bit puzzling. The Vikings did create 5.16 million in cap space this year with this restructure, but Thielen now has a cap hit in 2023 of around 20 million and about 22 million in 2024. The restructure also essentially keeps him around until 2024 as well, since the Vikings will be left with a 13.5 million dead cap hit if they trade or cut Thielen in 2023. Side note, Thielen will be 32 in August, and he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2018. So, Chris, what are the Vikings doing? Why did they back themselves into a corner for 2023 with, it's not even arguable, an aging wide receiver?
Well, I think you start with they want to put butts in seats. This is
Yeah.
probably another mandate from ownership saying, hey, don't trade Adam Thielen. He's one of our most popular players. Did you hear he's from Minnesota and he went to Mankato and he almost sold dental equipment and he tried out and he made the team, special teams and everything else? Like, I thought about this a lot because if we would have talked about this yesterday, I probably would have went off and said some stupid things. And I think I still might about this whole thing. Um, but first of all, from Thielen's perspective, he is a performer.
Mhm.
And I have a friend, Cy Amundsen, who explained it as, hey, if you're a performer, go get your money. And if
Yeah.
the Vikings are offering him a pay bump, which he actually got in this deal, if you go by the cap hit, um, yeah, it's a I would take it if I were Adam Thielen too. My only issue, and this might be what the Vikings are doing, is they are giving the players the power again after Mike Zimmer was there. Because Mike Zimmer was there, and it's his way or the highway, right? They kind of like
Mhm.
that dictatorial thing. But it feels like things are kind of sliding back. And that's kind of the ebb and flow of replacing your head coach, right? Like you have Mike Zimmer, the old school kind of, I don't want to call him a dictator, but just old school Bill Parcells type thing, right? And you get Kevin O'Connell who, hey, how's it going? I'm Kevin O'Connell. And hey, I want all my players to be happy here and whatever. Kind of like that camp counselor vibe, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But like this team reminds me so much of the Wild. And this take has been said on Score North before, but
Yeah.
I've also kind of felt that way like going into last season because it's like you're running it back with this team that has a lot of older players, that has a lot of things and flaws against it and everything else. And because you're, you know, like this thing, Adam Thielen reminds me of Zach Parise, and Kirk Cousins reminds me of Ryan Suter. And if you're a hockey fan, you know what I'm talking about because those were two guys who kind of put themselves before the team. And I'm sure like they want the team to win and everything like that. That's not a thing. But it feels like the Vikings are kind of catering to them more than the average player. Like for
Sure.
Parisi and Suter, it meant moving the practice from St. Paul all the way over to Edina. And if you don't
Hmm.
live in Minnesota, that's on the other opposite end of the Twin Cities. Like for Thielen, like I go back to this week 4 against the Bears in 2018. Adam Thielen is getting questioned after a game, and they're like, "Hey, what do you think about the offense?" He's like, "Well, you can't just run the ball all the time." Stephon Diggs was in the same boat. He was angry. He took it another level by skipping practice. But then Adam Thielen was on Kirk's radio show the next week going, "Oh no, Kirky, I'm so sorry, Kirky. Will you throw
Oh,
me the ball, Kirky? You do
Kirk
what you
apologized to
can,
him.
Kirky." Oh, Kirk apologized to him.
Yeah, he apologized to him. He need, and
Well, that
Diggs
pokes a
got, you.
huge hole in my
Yeah,
logic.
well, Diggs got, and well, no, it doesn't, because
But
Steelen wasn't even, like, sad about it or remorseful
right.
for it, and Diggs
Well,
got, like, all the hate.
here's the thing too. So ever since that interview, you know, they've been BFFs. They hang out all the time. They go to
Yeah.
Texas Roadhouse because the buns are amazing and they got the honey butter or whatever.
During
But
COVID.
the other thing, and I'll throw this out there, they didn't get vaccinated. And I don't want to get into a whole political debate. You can have whatever choice you want. But on that football team, if you weren't vaccinated, it made your life a hell of a lot harder. And it was reported that other players did not get vaccinated because of the top stars on the team. Who are the
Yeah.
top leaders on the team? Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, we'll throw Harrison Smith, Dalvin Cook. All of those players didn't get vaccinated, even though it would have benefited the team. Nobody cared. And that's fine. That's all their personal choice. But I think that, you know, it's a problem. It's symbolic of the culture in the locker room. And it wasn't just Mike Zimmer, it was the players there who just stood there and were just like, no, this is about me. And in 2017, you had a lot of young players that didn't really know better. I think that's one of the benefits towards rebuilding. You get a lot of players who are just happy to be in the NFL. They have their teammates and they come together like they did in 2017. Now you have players that are trying to get their money, which they should, and everything else. It just, when you have comments coming from Dalvin Cook saying, I will do anything to win, it's hollow to me because of that whole vaccination thing. And it's hollow to me when I see a contract like what Adam Thielen took, because it's just like, where does this fit in? And why are you paying a 32-year-old receiver who has had soft tissue injuries each of the past year? And I know that some Viking fans are going to be like, you can't talk about Adam Thielen that way. It's reality. It's football. He's basically in old Yeller territory right now once you get into the 30s. Like, you just cut him and you move on and you find somebody else. So I don't know. It just bothers me, the whole Adam Thielen thing. He's a great player. He's a great red zone threat. He's got, 24 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons.
Yep.
And like with Kevin O'Connell coming in, looking at this team, he wants to accentuate strengths, and keeping Adam Thielen around, whatever cost it took, is a strength of this team and something that he can accentuate. I just think the whole thing just feels a little dirty, and I don't know. What do you think? I'm sorry for the rant, but that's
No,
just my thought on Adam Thielen.
I didn't want to interrupt you because I wanted you to have your time. Um, I I'm fine with them bringing Thielen back, but my problem is, looking ahead to next year, and he's got a cap hit of almost 20 million. Like, e- everyone knows he's not worth that. So, like, and you can be like, well, they might change it or whatever. They might restructure. They can't. They can't. Like, the way that it's set up, they are, essentially, they have nothing they can do in 2023. Like, they don't really have any movement until 2024 to move on from Thielen, or fix his contract or whatever. And um, you can't sit here and tell me that he's worth 20 million or 22 million in 2024. No matter how much he's done for the organization, or how much people love him, because it's not helping the team out. And I think that I I don't know. I have no problem with them bringing him back, but if it was like 15 or 10 million cap hit, that seems more reasonable. But this makes me also think that the Vikings know that the salary cap is probably going to go up by a large amount next year and again in 2024, which will make this cap hit not look like much. But still, you're going to probably keep Adam Thielen with a cap hit this high, but then maybe look to trade Dalvin Cook next year because his cap hit is too high for a running back. So, you know, and same thing goes for Eric Kendricks, what his status is with the Vikings next year. I don't know. I think this year would have been a great time to move on from him because there's plenty of teams that were in need of receivers. I know the Chiefs are still looking for probably a veteran receiver right now, but with this restructure, they essentially took themselves out of getting anything for Thielen. And if he gets hurt again this year, his trade value is going to plummet. And, you know, even if he doesn't get hurt, like, he's gonna be a year older, another year in football. Like, we his this was the year to trade him. We've said this a lot about a lot of players on this team. This was the year to trade guys, and the Vikings are like, "No, we're gonna, you know, bring back the same guys that have missed the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years, and we're gonna contend for a championship because all we need is a new coach, and that's it. We don't need anything else." And that's what they're doing. But my question, last thing on this topic is, why does it just seem like the Vikings are essentially afraid to move on from Adam Thielen? Like, why are they afraid to, like, do you think they're afraid of too much backlash, like, from the local fans and media because he is such a beloved local guy?
Um, I think it gets back to what Kevin O'Connell wants to do.
Yeah.
I think, it's collaboration, right? It's not just Quasi making these decisions.
I've
It's,
never heard that
you
term, so I
know,
don't know what you're talking about. I've heard them say that once.
It's only a prime drinking game during his press conferences.
Oh
Like if
god.
you just want to go hard at
You'd
like 10 in the
die
morning,
if you
just
did
throw
that.
one of those on. Oh yeah. You'd be in trouble. Like I said, Kevin O'Connell comes in and he looks at the strengths on this team and he goes, where Mike Zimmer is just like, I made this comparison in an article on Zone Coverage. Mike Zimmer basically played a slot machine, right? He
Yep.
would put his money in, he'd pull the lever, and whatever happens, happens. He'd have like 5 things. So, like, each of the things on that slot machine would be like an outcome. So, will Daniil Hunter stay healthy? No, in 2017, and all came up sevens or whatever you want to say is a jackpot. Um, Kevin O'Connell is like a guy who counts cards at the blackjack table. He takes the information he has and he turns it into an advantage for himself. So when he looks at this offense, he goes, okay, I got Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the league. I have Adam Thielen, one of the best receivers in the league. I have Kirk Cousins, who kind of doesn't do well in big situations, but he's a top 10 quarterback, and I can not maybe fix him, but I can help him out. I can tweak things in order to do so. He plays so much to his strengths that if the Vikings are to contend, I think that's the way it would work. And if they get rid of Adam Thielen, like they need to replace him. And like Adam Thielen, when he's healthy, is still a very effective receiver. I just listed his touchdown numbers. Like a guy in the red zone that can do that is going to be something else. Now, when Irv Smith Jr. comes back, do those numbers go down? I don't know. But
Or if they draft a receiver too.
yeah, they could take Jamison Williams or Chris
Mhm.
Olave
Mhm.
or Garrett Wilson. I believe that's the other
Mhm.
Ohio State
Mhm.
guy, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options to replace him, but
Yep.
it's the devil you know against the devil you don't know. And if you release or trade Thielen, are you all of a sudden, is it like the Randy Moss effect where he was on the field like with Dwayne Bates across from him or whatever? Although Afros in 2004 is probably one of my favorite receiver groups in Vikings history. America's finest receivers on Sundays.
But they have was Kelly Campbell part of that? I feel like he
Oh
was.
yeah, I loved Kelly Campbell. I don't know about you, but yeah, him, Nate Burleson.
Yeah.
I think Hatchet was gone by then, but
He was. He was like
yeah,
2000,
that
he was gone.
yeah, yeah, that was funny. Kelly Campbell just screamed it right into the camera before the playoff game at Green
Yeah.
Bay.
Yeah. It's good.
But
That was fun. Yeah, with Thielen, I just I don't know. Like it is what it is. I think you brought up the thing where you're saying like they want to contend, so they have Cousins and Thielen. I don't think anyone would argue against you that bringing Cousins and Thielen back and Daniil Hunter and Kendricks and Smith and Harrison Smith gives them the best chance to succeed next season. But how high is that success? Like, yes, you can be better than you would without them next season, but what is that doing to you in 2023 and 2024? Like, sure, you want to compete next season, and the owners are going to come back the very next year and be like, "Yeah, we want to compete again." But like, you can only get so far with this group of players instead of maybe taking a few steps back and getting even farther in a few years. So like, yes, they want to contend, and yes, Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen and all these guys give them the best chance to probably succeed. I'm not even going to say contend next season because I don't think they're set up to be a contender right now, and I have no reason to think otherwise because they missed the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. Um, but yeah, they're set up. They have the best chance to succeed next season with the guys that they brought back. But is it the best for the future of this franchise? I don't think so. But it is what it is. Thielen's coming back. His contract it's kind of weird. I don't remember anyone like usually when contract numbers come out for the Vikings, we're like, oh wow, the Vikings got a really good like deal, or they set up this really nice like with Zadarius Smith and everything, and the Thielen one's just like,
yeah, not
what
this time.
happened? Like who did I don't
Yeah.
it looks like Rob Brzezinski was out of his office and somebody else like set this contract up. Like what who did this one?
Don't you just get the vibe like they go up to Rob Brzezinski. He's just eating his lunch in like the cafeteria or something. He's like, "Hey, you want to work on Adam Thielen's contract?" He's like, "You guys aren't gonna like it." And then they get mad and they like throw him in the bathroom and give him a swirly. He's like, "Okay, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, yeah.
yeah,
It's weird. It's because even the Kirk Cousins contract. It's like, yeah, they gave him a year, whatever. They can. It's not terrible. Doesn't gouge them that badly, like compared to what it could have been. But this one was just like, what? What is this? All right, moving on. So, a little surprise for you, Chris. I know we were supposed to be talking about the NFL's new overtime rule and how the Vikings voted against it, but instead got something else that we're going to talk about. Not really football related, but you can. It's kind of football
all
related.
right.
We're going to do a Viking Age podcast, WrestleMania 38 preview. Uh, that is taking place this weekend. So sorry, anyone watching is not a wrestling fan. You can leave now because we're about to talk about the adult soap opera that is WrestleMania. That's right. The greatest spectacle in the world, WrestleMania, is this weekend. It is a 2-day event this year, Saturday and Sunday. It was 2 days last year, right? I believe it
Yes,
was, and
yes.
it's live. It's from AT&T Stadium this year in Dallas, Texas. Chris, I just want to list all the matches for this year's WrestleMania, which I believe is WrestleMania 38, and we can predict who will win. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Figured that was be more fun than talking about owners voting against an overtime rule, which makes no sense. Uh, all right. Day one, Saturday, which is scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday night. First, we've got these are not in the specific order that they will be going on, but this is what I have on the docket. So we've got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, and things have getting a little hairy between these two, to say the least.
I like the haircut though. Becky showed it off on Twitter
Right,
and
right,
and I like it. She's like, "Yeah, you made a mistake. I look even better because she's the man. She can do whatever she wants." Full
yeah,
disclosure, I have watched like one episode of Raw or SmackDown since
right.
Royal Rumble, so I'm a
Same.
little fuzzy on this one, but I've kept an eye on it. I think
Yeah,
that you can't have Bianca lose so much to Becky because eventually
no,
she doesn't become a threat. So I think this is her moment. She winds up getting the win over the man. And then they stop doing this heel turn with Becky because nobody wants to boo her right now. Like, no,
yeah.
everybody wants to cheer the man or big time Bex
She's like
or
Randy Orton,
whatever she's
pretty
calling
much.
right now. Yeah.
It's like
What's
the new
that?
Randy Orton. She's like the new Randy Orton,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, same thing with me. Watch clips here and there. Just got too much stuff to do and kids and crazy stuff. But wrestling is one of those things where you can just watch a few clips on Twitter or YouTube and you know exactly what's going on. So I'm gonna go with Bianca Belair as well. Baby faces like WrestleMania is the time for baby faces to win. Like that's just how it always typically goes. There's like a few heels that win, but most of the time, yeah, baby faces win. And what she got beat by Becky Lynch in like what 30 seconds in SummerSlam or whatever. So
I think it was
I
like
think
15 or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think Bianca Belair will come out of here with the victory. All right, next we got Ray and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. This was a match definitely made for social media to get a bunch of Logan Paul followers to watch, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, what do you got?
It'll get some clicks.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know. The good thing is like most people already have Peacock and it's not like a $60
right.
buy-in like it has been in previous years. So viewership will be high regardless. I think the fighting Mysterios will come away with this. This is a match like I don't really care about. Logan Paul will probably turn on Miz and then they'll beat up Miz and everybody will go home
Do
happy
you think?
or they'll
Do you
they'll
think
be in
Logan
line for a
Paul?
beer.
Do you think Logan Paul will be impressive at all? Because I remember what Bad Bunny last year. Bad Bunny was pretty good last year.
He was awesome last year. I mean,
Right.
he He did a freaking destroyer.
He did a sunset flipper or
Like,
whatever,
it's just like,
or
it's like,
oh,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I love when like celebrities are into it like that. Like if
Yeah.
they're not into it, like it's just like, why are you here? But like Bad Bunny's like an actual like fan.
He
Like everybody
practiced.
kind of
Yeah.
crapped on him, but yeah. Oh yeah, he was really into it. So I mean, I didn't have a problem with that once I saw what he was doing. Um, yeah, I think Ray and Dominic win though.
Yeah. I think Logan Paul might surprise some people. He's been doing the boxing thing, so I think he's probably in pretty good shape. We'll see, what he can do. Next we got Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I have 0 interest in this at all. What do you think?
So Drew fought Madcap Moss at Elimination Chamber, and I'm like, why do I care about it? And at least it was like a falls count anywhere match. He nearly killed the guy. A former golfer, Madcap Moss.
Oh, really?
Yes, he is Mike Rawless, actually, is his real name. He was a
Ah,
former linebacker.
okay.
So and they just saddled him with a stupid gimmick. But yeah, it was way more entertaining than I thought it would be. This one I don't have high hopes for. Just give Drew the win and feed him to Roman.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
I know they've had a little thing going on, but that's like, eh, who's
It's
this
gone
for?
on too long. The
Who is
neck
this? Who is
injury screwed
yeah,
everything
who is
up,
yeah.
but
Oh, with Big
yeah.
E?
No,
Yeah.
Drew's neck
Oh,
injury.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. You're right.
if he's healthy, he probably fights Roman at Royal Rumble, but he screwed up his
Yeah,
neck and had
you're
to
right.
miss that time. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't need this. Alright. This one might be better. The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Rick Boogs. That's just a fun name to say. He's also a Wisconsin Badger, so I can't
He
really cheer
looks
for
like
him.
he looks like he would be. He looks like he would be.
He also looks like Freddie Mercury, which is kind of awesome. Like if
Much
he
bigger,
like
much
hit the
bigger.
weights. Yeah, like hit the weights, like jacked up Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I think the Usos win. The bloodline's just too strong right now, and I don't know. They're kind of in that Roman territory. Like, who can I take seriously as a challenger for them? So I'll go the
Yeah.
Usos.
I think this might be a sneaky good match. The Usos usually put on a pretty good show at WrestleMania, so I think it could be. Same thing with this next one, which is Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, not to be confused with the safety Xavier Woods, who formerly played for the Vikings. He did not go. He's not a wrestler now.
Yeah,
Different Xavier Woods versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. And what did they just change? Uh, the
Butch
yeah, what Pete Dunne is
sounds like
now
a Vegas
Butch.
security
Yeah,
guard. Like, just get hauled
yeah.
out of the casino and get
That's
your
that
ass
was
whipped by
it's
Butch.
so obvious when Vince McMahon is the one to pick someone's name. Like, why can't you just keep his name? But yeah, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
flip a
don't
coin.
know.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, maybe they'll push the younger guys. I don't know. I'll go with Sheamus and Butch. The heel's got to win at some point, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess I
and
picked the Usos, but
yeah, and if you're gonna pick a team to lose, you got to pick a team like the New Day that's already over. Doesn't they can
yes.
lose 30 matches and they'll still sell a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
All right, Charlotte. It's weird that they have both women's championships matches on the same night, but whatever. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Who do you got?
I think Charlotte's going to retain.
Me too. Me too.
Ronda doesn't seem into it this time around.
Yeah, it's weird.
And maybe
I think
that's a
she's hurt.
storyline.
I think she's hurt. Actually,
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like legit hurt. So
Yeah. So I don't know. This might just be another way to put Charlotte over, which is fine. I
it
mean,
feels like
so like they're talking about like the main event and I'll be quickly because I don't know we're almost out of time, but like they're talking about the main event on Saturday and they're like, yeah, they should put that because otherwise the women's titles won't matter. But and I think like one of the women's matches is deserving of that spot.
yeah,
Like you, in theory, you should, but I mean, with these like this storyline make me care. Like I don't
yeah,
care about this match. And
yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with this right now. Charlotte's the best female wrestler in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Rhonda, like the whole thing's just kind of felt like a money grab, but maybe she's hurt. Maybe it's a storyline thing kind of reeling us in. I don't really know what's going on here. And I mean, I don't have the interest that I should in this match.
No, I agree. It has feelings of, if you remember, like, wow, it's like almost 20 years ago now. When Brock and Goldberg faced off in like WrestleMania
Yeah.
20, and like no one, that should have been a huge match, and no one cared about it because you could tell that they didn't care about it. And this kind of feels similar. Maybe it's not, but yeah, I think Charlotte will win too. And last, maybe this will be the main event, maybe it won't. But Seth Rollins versus an opponent to be announced, which will be Shane
Goldberg.
McMahon. Now it's rumored
I
to be.
just want to see. I want it to be like Goldberg or something, just to see the crowd reaction and see everybody just lose their minds.
Yeah.
Because I think this is going to be the match that opens on Saturday night. Because I do not think it will be Goldberg. I think it will be Cody Rhodes, who is jumping over from AEW, and I think somebody brought it up that it could be one of those deals where Vince rolls out Shane or whoever right away. Seth Rollins gets mad and just beats the hell out of him. And then the lights go off. Cody has that epic like prelude thing. And then he comes out and everybody loses their mind and Cody just squashes him. So yeah, the winner will be Cody Rhodes. If it is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I wonder if
Maybe
like
it's Marco Stunt.
If they do, like, Shane McMahon comes out and everyone's like, "What? No way." And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just here to announce his opponent. I'm not in this match." And he, like, he announces Cody Rhodes and kinda aligns with him, and maybe, like, because we've heard the rumblings that things haven't been going so well with Shane McMahon, so maybe he unites with this AEW guy, and then they, kinda team up against Vince McMahon and his WWE stuff, so maybe that'll happen, but probably not, because that seems a little too creative for what WWE are doing.
You're giving them way too much credit.
I am. It's just gonna be something stupid, like Veer's gonna come out and everyone's gonna be like, "What the heck?" So that's night one. We'll move on to
Wait. You're forgetting the big one here.
Oh,
Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Is that I thought that was night.
Do you think it's going to be a match?
Because
Because Austin's bringing it up like a match.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Could
could
be
be
some
one of those
stunners.
deals where
Is
he
it night
says-
one? It's not. It's the main. It's supposed to be the main
night
event
one.
or whatever, right?
Because they're talking, it might be the main event.
Right. There'll be some stunners.
There will be stunners and there will be beer.
Yeah.
Slammed very quickly.
Maybe a 4-wheeler or two. Yeah. I think everyone's just gonna be happy to see Stone Cold. I don't think they care if he really wrestles, especially in Texas.
Right. Stun him, drinks a beer. Hey.
What really needs to happen is Stone Cold comes out. He's get like maybe Kevin Owens is beating him up, and then The Rock comes out to save him. That's what really needs to happen.
Yes.
See, I'm giving
Put
them.
the Rock in any match. I don't care. Like have him come out during the Rousey match. Like
I'm giving them all this free content, and they won't use it. So
they won't use any of it.
Day 2 WrestleMania on Sunday, which will also begin at 7 p.m. Central. We got a couple of matches here. So it starts off with, I don't know if it'll start off, but they might get this out of the way. Carmella, Queen Zelina versus Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler, who is from North Dakota. Did I say that right?
Vikings fan, Shayna Baszler. Yes.
Shayna Baszler, yeah. She's from South Dakota, I think.
Yes. Sioux Falls, I believe.
Versus Naomi and Sasha Banks for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, this should be, if they really want people to get, interested, it should be a TLC match, just like the Dudleys and Hardys and Edge and Christian, but I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see. Who wins this?
Hey, Siri, pick a number between 1 and 4.
That would be 4.
Oh, there you go.
Fourth team. Who's the fourth team?
Sasha Banks and Naomi. I think they're going to win.
They'll win.
Yeah. I think they're gonna win. I like Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I think that's a good little team they got there, but, I think Naomi and Sasha Banks will win. You gotta have Sasha win in WrestleMania. Come on. It's her like
Must.
her the the third the number 3 pay-per-view she does all year long. So, you gotta give her a win. All right, next we got Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Who is gonna win this matchup? Is this for the Intercontinental Championship? Or did he already
It
make
is
him lose
not.
it?
Ricochet won the Intercontinental, so
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
Intercontinental
right. He
Championship's
made him
not
lose it.
even being defended. Yeah,
That's so weird.
which is
Neither is the
good.
US
I don't
title.
think this should have been this. Finn Balor has it, and
Yeah,
he's getting beat up
he's not
by
on the card
Damian
either.
Priest. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's surprising. Um, this is an anything goes match, so I think it's just gonna be a spot fest for Johnny Knoxville.
for sure.
I could see something goofy where he winds up winning. I mean, Sammy doesn't need to take a win here. That's
Does Wee
not his
Man
fit.
distract the ref and
There'll
then
be some
Johnny
jackass people to show
Oh,
up,
yeah,
I'm sure.
for sure.
He's got a lot of friends. There might be another like surprise guy in there. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
could be a fun match to watch
It
in
could
the
be,
end, but
yeah. I'm Johnny
could
Knox
also be a beer break.
everyone likes Johnny Knoxville. He makes, like, everything he does is pretty good. So, I haven't seen the new Jackass yet, though. I gotta check that out. Alright, next we got Pat McAfee, good friend of Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen, versus Austin Theory. Yeah, Pat McAfee's gotta win this, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is like his WrestleMania moment. And like Theory, I mean, if he loses to Pat McAfee, McAfee's won. No, he hasn't won in NXT. But he's an athlete. I'm kind of excited. I mean,
Yeah, he did the spot off the
McAfee's gonna
cage,
take
right?
this seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. McAfee's
He's
gonna
a
take
he's
this
a
serious.
he's a former
Theory's a
NFL
bump
player.
machine.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah,
He's a former
it'll be a
NFL
fun
player.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's athletic. He dropped some people in the NFL. So, I think this will be probably an entertaining match. All right. This match, the next one I feel like has the chance to be like the talk of the weekend. Which is, and I'm not even kidding, Randy Orton and Riddle versus Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. I think this one has a lot of potential.
They want to keep RK Bro together, I think. I don't think if they wanted
Yeah.
Orton to turn, they would have done it by now.
Yeah.
So I think RK Bro wins, but I think it'll be a really good match. I mean, there's some underrated performers in
Yeah.
here, especially Montez Ford and Minnesota's own Chad Gable.
Right. Lots of Minnesota in this some former Vikings too. We'll get to those.
Yes.
But yeah, lots of Minnesota connections. A heavy wrestling community. Edge and AJ Styles. This match probably would have been good like 10 years ago. Maybe it'll be good
I
this
think
year.
it'll
I don't
still
know.
be good.
You think
Yeah.
so?
I think so.
All right.
They're both good. I mean, Edge is like 50 and he can still put on good matches.
Yeah.
AJ Styles at this point of his career, he's like Shawn Michaels' late career. That's a
Yeah.
high bar to reach because he was so damn good at the end of his career. But yeah, I mean, this match, Edge has that new character. I think Edge winds up winning and this feud continues beyond here. I don't think it should, but I think with Edge's like heel turn and what he's doing, I think he winds up winning, and then Styles tries to get revenge because WWE likes having 40 different matches in a feud. So
Does the Undertaker make an appearance in this WrestleMania?
yes,
Yeah.
he's going in the Hall of Fame. So he'll probably do his
Oh
entrance
yeah.
one last time or something. And here's the Undertaker.
Maybe he'll
And he'll go
maybe he'll
die, die,
go
die.
maybe he'll be the one to like go on the KO show and save Stone Cold if that happens. He'll be he'll be
Maybe.
he'll be the biker one.
Biker Taker.
Yeah.
Full country Undertaker. I'ma
Yeah.
kill you, boy.
Yeah. We can't get Jeff Hardy in there anymore because he's gone. All right. This one I think
No.
just added, which it's kind of interesting, is Bobby Lashley versus Omos, who I believe is a former like USF basketball player.
Yeah, he was a basketball player. I don't know. Almost doesn't interest me at all. It's like, all
Why
right,
couldn't he go
like
against Babatunde? Like, what? How, they were trying to do that. I feel like why couldn't they go against former Viking Babatunde Ayagbusi?
I was gonna say he doesn't want the smoke, but I think they already fought. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I think
like
on.
Lashley. I like the almighty gimmick. Um, I think a face turn would be good for Lashley.
Yeah,
He got a nice little pop too on Monday when he
he did.
came back. I think Omos wins. They're trying to put him on a rocket ship right now, so I think that would be a nice little win to catapult him, even though he's not a guy that I really like, but somebody does.
He, he he's following down like the Braun Strowman path where he's just a giant person and they just have him go against whoever because he's gonna always be bigger than everyone else. So, the last match, former Viking Brock Lesnar versus former Viking Roman Reigns for the unified WWE and Universal Championship. Who will be coming out with the single belt in this match?
Well, I know I'm wearing my Minneapolis Suplex City shirt,
Yeah,
but I don't think Brock's sticking around. He very well could.
yeah.
But I think it will be Roman Reigns.
You gotta give it to the full timer. Unless it's like a situation where it's Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, you gotta give the belt to the guy who's gonna be there every week. Brock Lesnar's been around for the last few weeks, so can't complain. But yeah, I think Roman Reigns comes out on top. I'm curious. It's annoying because I think the last time these guys went against each other was when Seth Rollins had the Money in the Bank. He did the run in and he won that.
Oh, 34.
Yeah, I think this was the
So the
last
first
time.
time was
Yeah,
31 when Rollins had the run in. They met up at 34 and Brock won.
right.
And now this time, it's
We'll see.
those two, the
What
last
what
chapter,
what
or so
role
they
might
say.
Paul Heyman have? Will he like hit Brock over the head with a belt and then Roman gets the pin, or will it be clean? I don't think it's gonna be clean.
No, something's gonna happen. Is Heyman gonna
Yeah.
eat an F5? I feel like he would like die if that happened. But
How old
like,
is he? He's
I
in his 60s
he's up
probably, right?
there, man. Yeah. I love Paul Heyman though. Like
Paul E.
he's
dangerously.
he's so damn good. Yeah. He's so good at like just hyping things up and
He
you know,
is.
reigning, defending.
Yeah, he's done it his
Yeah.
whole life. He's good at what he does. All right, that concludes the Viking Age WrestleMania 38 preview, which is probably why most of you tuned in or are listening to this podcast. So, thank you for your time. Tune in this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I believe it's on Peacock and WW. That's it. That's probably like international. It's on like what Sky
Yeah, I think they
Sports or
still have
whatever.
the network
Yeah.
internationally, but yeah.
Yeah. So check that out if you're in Canada or whatever, if you're listening to this. All right. So that's it. Thanks for joining today, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, make sure to follow the Viking Age on Twitter and Facebook. But until next time, Chris and I will talk to you later.